everybody. It's time to talk about Oblivion, Phantasm 4. Got all 5 of them in there, I think. Yeah, I would hope so. And this one came out in what, 98, I want to say. Didn't do much research on this. Yeah, 98. This is like the second lowest budget of the 4 so far, and you can tell when you watch this movie, holy shit, does it seem low budget. There's hardly anybody in here. It's all in the desert. Not much happens. It tries to go back to the roots, I guess, the tone especially of the first one, and it just did not work for me at all. This franchise, I'm calling it now, 4 movies in out of 5. I don't care for this franchise. And I know there's people that like this. I know there's people that love the franchise. And I've seen some people put Oblivion at in the middle of their ranking or above 3 because the comedy, they push the comedy a little bit more in part 3. They go for a little bit more of a wacky tone than the first 2. And it doesn't work for some people. And even in my last review, I said they do go a little too far with it with some things. The whole frisbee thing was kind of goofy. The whole nunchuck chick. It does get a little wacky, especially compared to the first 2. But honestly, after watching part 4, I have a much bigger appreciation for part 3. And I really wish they would have just continued down that route for this one. Because the feel of this movie and just the look of it, there's no entertainment in this movie, no entertainment value, no replay value, nothing. This movie, once again, 4 movies in, makes no sense. And I'm convinced that Don doesn't even know what his movies are about. I would bet money that he doesn't know a actual coherent explanation. He doesn't have any idea of 1 through 4, what's really going on, how they all tie together. This means this and this and that. You listen to the commentaries for these movies, he doesn't talk about the story, not for 1 second. It's always about the camera work and the look and their time on set. I was listening to the commentary hoping that they would explain something, but of course, no. They want to talk about other shit. And then it's funny because no one on the crew, behind the scenes, editor, actor, Reggie Bannister, they're always in the commentary yeah, what's this scene mean? They don't even know what the fuck's going on. And then Don will be well, I know, but I'm not going to tell you, haha. It's fuck you, Don. You don't know. It's I won't tell you. No, you mean you can't tell me because you literally cannot explain your own movie. These make no sense. So my canon in my head, how I'll make this make sense is that they're all movies. No one's real. Nothing happened. There is no dream. There is no portal. It's just bullshit nonsense for 4 movies, all just Don. We're just seeing Don's imagination. That's what these 4 movies are. Or 5, I guess, by now. It's just all imaginary phantasms that make no sense at all. Please do explain it to me in the comments below so that I can appreciate these freaking movies. I went into this with an open mind and I was bored out of it. I was sighing every 10 minutes, checking my watch, just bored. This is easily the most boring. And it's shocking how fucking terrible this movie really was. It's not F level. There are some little things I did like about it. So let's just jump into that. What little things do I like about this movie? I like that the ending, finally, is not the same ending. I like that there is no, oh, there's the tall man in the corner, he's saying boy, and then the person gets dragged through the window. They did it 3 times in a row. The Jody character or whatever, Mike at the end of part 1, Mike again at the end of part 2, and then this Home Alone kid at the end of part 3. It's just rinse and repeat. But finally, part 4 say, we're not going to do that. Thank you. And then this movie has sphere boobs. That was the only entertainment that I got from the movie. That was the only little goofiness that that was the only moment of actual enjoyment I had in this entire fucking 90-minute movie. And it's this movie just kept, there was moments where I kept thinking oh, this is when it's going to get a little bit better. And then it just jumped right back to Mike in the desert doing God knows what for what reasons. And then it would just lose me again. And it's not like I have ADD and I can't pay attention. I don't like slow movies or I'm dumb. No. This movie, the way it's written, the pacing, it just was not working for me. It was not interesting and it was boring. I know. All right. So, yeah, I mean, anything else positive wise would just be me grasping at straws. Like, ooh, continuity. And because I always talk about it. This movie picks up after part 3. Like, literally after part 3. You got cast continuity. I like that stuff. I will say this movie has the hottest chick of the franchise, though. Jennifer, easily the hottest chick. And once again, Reggie is just 4 movies, or I guess 3 in a row, 2, 3, and 4, he's always given this like hitchhiker chick who he's gonna try to get with and not really succeed. The closest he got was in part 2. In part 3, it was a dream, so it never really happened. Him banging like Rocky, but yeah, in part 2, that was the closest he got. So yeah, just little themes I'm picking up on, like car explosions. There's always a car that explodes. There's always a car that flips, and there's always the hearse. There's always the tall man saying "boy" or "let the games begin." And what game? What game is even taking place? What are the rules? If it's a game, there's rules and there's winners and losers. And nobody's winning or losing at the end of all these movies. There's no rules established. What game is the tall man talking about? Because at the beginning, he lets Reggie go. He's like, you play a good game, boy. I got a game in mind with you. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, what game are you fucking talking about? Makes no sense. This whole movie makes no sense. There's my first con. Once again, movie is just incoherent as hell. And I feel like this whole movie was made just because Don, he just was upset that his first movie got cut and then he couldn't use all those alternate endings. So he's like, I'm going to take all these clips and endings and I'm going to write a story that makes no sense around it. I'm just going to try to loosely tie these scenes that were already shot and done many years ago into this film. I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to write a story around it. And then once again, it's not going to make sense. So they went into this movie with like 25% of it already shot. That's, again, another like red flag about how like low the budget was. So they didn't have time to shoot a whole new movie. They just relied on all this other footage to tell the story. To tell the story. What story? Nothing, not a coherent one. And then the whole movie takes place in the desert. This movie looks ugly. They try to make the sun like a interesting visual. Like there's so many sun shots, like the sun behind Mike, the sun behind a rock. They keep cutting to the sun. The sun's like it's like a backlight. It's backlighting them, and then there'll be like a sun transition shot. There's a lot of sun shots in this movie, and I just couldn't help but notice it. Stupid to talk about, but whatever. But just the movie, the way it looks, the atmosphere, it's completely lacking. There's no creepy atmosphere. There's nothing. There's like this one dream sequence that takes place at a cemetery, and that's about it. That was about the only moment of actual like horror atmosphere. The whole movie is just in a desert, on the road, in the CUDA car that just somehow keeps coming back, even though it keeps like flipping over and blowing up. I guess Reggie has all this life insurance money from his dead family to keep buying more cars and fixing them. What happened to his ice cream truck? Why doesn't he just fucking drive that around? I do like that he gets back in his ice cream truck outfit. At the very end, they got like that gear up montage, like a Rambo movie, putting the strap on. He's got his 4-barrel shotgun back, uses it like once or twice in this movie. But yeah, the action's ramped all the way down, the entertainment's all the way down. It's just not a fun movie. It's just boring. And the acting is the weakest by far, like especially Reggie at the beginning. Like, what the fuck? It must have been like day 1 of shooting and just he was tired or something.
Why don't you just get the hell away from me, man? I'm done with you.
That's a fine how you been, Reg.
If you think I'm gonna help you find your brother Mike, you're wrong. Dead wrong.
He was just not in his groove at all. Just everybody across the board, the acting is just very weak in this movie. And there's not enough Reggie, honestly. Like, he's in it, like, maybe close to, maybe 30% of it is Reggie, and then, like, 70% of it is the tall man and Mike going through portal after portal after portal and just trying to hang himself. And it's just enough with Mike and enough with Jody. They're terrible. They're not interesting to me anymore. Sorry, they're just not. And there's like no kills in this movie either. Like, nobody's dying. I can't remember anybody who dies in this movie. Does anybody? And there's like hardly any practical effects. And once again, budget. Like, just hardly anything. There's like a maniac cop, and that's about it. That's about as far as the special effects goes. K&B actually chipped in for one scene, the boob spheres. That's like the one thing they contributed as a favor to Don, supposedly. And this movie's so low budget. They're like reusing props from the first few movies, and they're hiring Reggie's wife to do the special effects and whatnot. And like every time you see a sphere, you can see the entire crew in the sphere. And it's been like all of them, but it's especially in this one. Like I've noticed it more in this one. Whenever a sphere is on camera, the ball, you can see like the lighting and the cameraman, and the person with the fucking fishing line. It's just ridiculous. And then to add more insult to injury, they add all these fucking like CGI spheres. Like it was completely pointless. It looked bad. Like it wasn't even a necessary shot. It's not like they did anything with those balls. They just like, oh look, there's a whole hallway of sphere balls, and it's just whatever. Like, oh my god. And just yeah, I don't want to talk more about this movie. I really don't. I have better things to do. Literally, like so. Final thoughts. This is easily the weakest of the franchise. I am now completely dreading checking out Ravager. I've heard from fans that love this one shit on 5, so I can only imagine how like I'm already feeling that way about this one, how much I'm going to despise part 5. And I'm sure once again, confusing, no explanations, poor acting, poor everything. So yeah, I'm dreading part 5. But yeah, this one's just boring, atmosphere lacking, acting is lacking, no talent here. It's just boring for me. It just is. And I know there's fans out there, but fuck, I don't get it. So could you please explain it to me? Because to me, when it comes to Phantasm 4 Oblivion, this movie is wasted time. Now, the collaborative warfare best scene is the boob spheres. I think that was the only scene in the movie where I genuinely had a smile on my face and a laugh. It was the only moment of levity and fucking entertainment. Everything else was just blech. So now let's quickly go through my spoiler discussion so I can get this shit over with. I mean, I don't know why I'm even doing this. There's nothing to talk about. It opens up, Mike, he's in the car. He's having like this weird cut-together montage thing going on through his head just to kind of catch the audience up on all the incoherent bullshit that's been happening in the last 3 movies. So yeah, you get a little montage. CGI balls go through the hallway. Yay, CGI. Unnecessary. And then we see some unused footage from the first one. You got Mike as a kid. He's robbing Reggie blind of his ice cream, and Reggie doesn't seem to care. He just smiles like, he's stealing money. He's basically stealing all my product. Thank you. And then there's the apparition of the what do you call him? A medium, that chick, the gypsy from part 1, supposedly. Different actress, but she's like randomly in the passenger seat. Oh no, scare, and then she's gone. And then she pops up back later as some other like time traveling sequence where she's like the wife of the tall man. We get to find out what the tall man's name is, Jebediah, kind of like Leatherface in one of those movies. Jebediah, and then he's Bubba, and then he's Leatherface, and then he's fucking Hewitt. They changed that guy's name so many times in that franchise. And then Jody asks Reggie to find Mike, and Reggie is released from the tall man's. He has him captured, and then he just lets him go. He's like, all right, I got bigger plans for you, Reggie. And what are those plans? Because they aren't revealed by the end of this movie, for sure. Are they revealed in part 5? Because that movie didn't come out for another 20 years after this fucking movie. Like, that's another thing that's odd about this. Like, at the time, this was probably supposed to be the last one. And the way it ends, it's almost like Cult of Chucky, where it feels like it's trying to set something else up. But yet it took them 20 years to try to extend this ending and like actually explain what they're wanting to do. Like Reggie, he just goes through the portal, and then Mike's dying, and it feels like it's about to set up the sequel, but really this was supposed to be the last one. What? Like, what a shitty ending. Even though it's not the same ending, I appreciate that. The whole scare thing, dragging through the window, I'm glad they didn't do that, but still not a good ending. This movie is just, and it took me forever. Like, it's been a couple of days since I've seen this. So as of this recording, I was going to record it yesterday, but not in the mood. But I have to today because it's actually Wednesday now when I'm recording this. And I was just like thinking about this movie at work, and I'm like, what happened? This movie is so forgettable. I was like struggling for a good 10 minutes in my head. Like, what was the ending shot? What was the ending scene? I could not remember. It took me so long. So that goes to show how much this movie just lacks in keeping you engaged and keeping your attention and fucking just entertaining you or just scaring you or fucking making you laugh, anything. Just there's nothing to be gained from this experience at all. I just did not get it. I know I sound pissed because I am. wasted my time watching this movie twice because I watched the commentary hoping for answers, and I got nothing. We see self-driving cars. This is ahead of its time, although it's just a tall man using his telekinetic powers. Once again, the tall man has these powers that he uses in certain scenes where he should be using them in these other scenes, and why isn't he? Fuck, Jesus. And so yeah, then we get like all these different alternate endings. I mean, Mike, he's in the desert. He's hanging himself with this noose, and he ties like a slip knot. I don't know where he got this rope. I don't know, but he found the one tree in Death Valley to hang himself from. And then we see like this ghost cop, and he just disappears, and then he comes back. Reggie, he's in the car. He's got the shotgun, but he can't like undo the like chain around it. It's like it's tied, so it's like only pointing up. And then for some reason, the cop, instead of like busting through the side window, he goes on top of the car so that Reggie can just shoot him with the stationary shotgun that he can't get out. Like if he would have been attacked from the side, he would have been done. But it doesn't make sense why he's being attacked. This is right after he was released by the tall man. Tall man's like, oh, I got bigger plans for you. I'm going to let you go so that I can attack you and try to murder you 10 minutes later with this cop who's obviously controlled by the tall man, right? So what the fuck? Like, just kill him. Why did you let him go just to attack him 10 minutes later? Who's that guy in the trunk? What happened to him? Who's anybody? Like, Jesus. And then another hitchhiker, and she's revealed to be another lackey for the tall man, and it's obvious because she just immediately starts like stripping down in front of Reggie because everybody in this franchise except for Rocky seems to be into Reggie, and it's like, come on. It's just not believable. Like, she's just like stripping in front of him, covering up her boobs. And then we get like this 1800s dream. It goes back to like Civil War times, and that explains nothing. I guess, Reggie, he's been around for a while, but we already know that from part one. That picture comes back into this one for like a couple of seconds. Cute little wink to the first one, like, hey, remember this picture? Remember this? Member berries? Plenty of member berries in this movie. If you don't get that, that's a South Park reference. All right, so Mike teleports to this mansion, and we get to see the tall man as a nice guy, and maybe this is him before he became the tall man. How he became the tall man, we don't know, but I guess he just created this portal for, this time machine portal that could take you to different dimensions and different times. He went through and never came back, and there's just all these tall men versions of him. And I don't know. How he made this time machine, I don't know. How this, how that, why that, I don't know. I don't know anything. This fucking movie. And then I like the lines like, I thought they only blew up in the movies, and the car blows up.
I thought cars only blew up like that in the movies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, the girl crashes because she sees a fucking turtle in the road, and what's the point of any of this? Really? Like, the tall man, so she's been this lackey for the tall man the whole time, just like the cop. And what's the point? Is it to slow down Reggie? If you don't want him reaching Mike to, like, quote unquote save him, even though he doesn't really, then why didn't you just kill him at the beginning? Why are you letting him go and then you're trying to like slow him down? Like, no, I don't want you to reach Mike. Like, why did you let him go? And then why are you pretending to be a woman for so goddamn long and then reveal yourself at some random ass moment? What's the point? It makes no sense. Whatever happened to the lady in lavender? Whatever happened to fucking your victims and then killing them? Reggie's not getting laid at all. He's not getting lucky. He wishes that the lady in lavender would show up and try to fuck his brains out because he keeps trying to bang all these women. I like how they get to the hotel and it's clearly like a shack in the middle of nowhere. It looks completely run down. He makes a mention of like having 2 sleeping bags, but then when they get inside the hotel, they sleep on the bed, not in their sleeping bags, on the bed that clearly had like all kinds of yellow piss stains all over it. No one would be sleeping in that bed. It's just bullshit. And what else to talk about? Like, this movie is just pissing me off the more I talk about it because the franchise just makes no sense why any of this is happening. Where did they get so many candles? I hate this. It's a dumb thing to point out, but in movies they go into an empty motel room and then boom, there's like 40 candles around the bed lit to create atmosphere, romantic atmosphere. And then we get another dream sequence, and then we get the best scene in the movie with the boob spheres, and then they come out, and then for some reason in this movie, after part 3 established they have eyeballs and brains inside. That's just gone now. It's not a thing no more. Reggie gets a sledgehammer. That's like his new weapon now. He sledgehammers the sphere. There's no brain bits in it. There's no eyeball on it. There's nothing. And then he finally gets drilled in the hand. You know, it doesn't suck blood out. Like, it's supposed to be like a suction thing, right? It hits your head, it sucks blood out. It hits his hand. I guess it just goes all the way through, so it can't suck blood out. Maybe that's the explanation that I just came up with. But it would have been cool if blood was coming out of it, you know, sucking the blood out of his palm. And, you know, Jody is a red herring in the movie. You know, like, maybe he's another lackey, and then you find out he is. But it's not shocking, because Mike knew it all along. And he kills his brother, and then all of a sudden there's another brother. And then he, like, is through in the desert. He's, like, spending all this time, like, practicing his telekinesis power, because he's still got, like, the ball in his head that was injected at the end of part 3. So now he has these powers, and he uses it to build this little bomb in the car, the hearse, and thinks that by blowing up the tall man, he will be defeated. Because at the end, he blows up the tall man, another tall man replaces him immediately, comes through the portal, and then he has this look of like, oh, no, I thought that would be it. Like, I thought that was how you would defeat him. Like, really? We've already established in the last movie, or maybe part 2, I think it was 2 or 3, that there's multiple tall men. Lots of them. Like, you kill one, there's another one. Like, they even took, like, the main tall man in part 3, they took his brain, you know, the sphere out, and put in, like, liquid nitrogen, fucking destroyed it, and then he got replaced. So why did you think that blowing up this one would make a difference? It was odd that he was actually shocked when another one came through the portal. Like, oh my gosh, there's another one? You should know that. You should fucking know that. And then, like, when he kills his brother, quote-unquote brother, like, he's like, I died in the car wreck. And it's supposed to be this revelation, I guess, but I don't give a shit. Like, we've already known that. That was already revealed at the very end of part 1. And I don't get that at all. I don't get anything. I don't. I died in the car wreck. Dun, dun, dun. And then, yeah, he fucking, yeah, this genius plan, blah, 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 doesn't work. And then, now it's time. Time for what? For the franchise to end? No, because we got another movie after this, unfortunately. And then the ball gets taken from Mike's head. Mike dies from that somehow. I don't know. And then Reggie's like, I'm going to avenge you, brother. And then he runs through the portals with his quadruple barrel shotgun to go save the day. And then I guess we're seeing Mike's last images, last memories before he dies, maybe. And it's going back to the first movie, so we can insert yet another clip from the first one into this movie that they didn't use in it. And it's basically an alternate ending. And it's Reggie and Mike in the car, and they hear shit in the air, you know, I guess voices in their head or whatnot, but they're both hearing it. And it's voices from this movie. I'm not sure what voices they were hearing in the original script for the first movie, but it sure as fuck was not this, I can tell you that. But Reggie's like, oh my gosh, what was that? Did you hear that, Mike? And Mike's like, it's just the wind. And then boom, it's over. Like, really? Fuck this. I'm done with this movie. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Explain it to me. Please do your best. And I will talk about part 5 and shit all over it, most likely. I will go in with an open mind. Hopefully I'll enjoy something out of it. Hopefully. But yeah, these are my thoughts as of now for this movie. Seen it twice. I like it better with no volume, just the commentary, honestly. Like, it flew by quicker with just Don and Reggie speaking over it. So watching these with the volume off seems to be a better experience than with the volume on. Especially this one. Oh, I know. I'm done. I'm done bitching. So I know I've already gotten like 40 dislikes because I'm acting like an asshole. But seriously, like, it's insulting to purposely write movies that have no explanation, to purposely leave no breadcrumbs, and to purposely just leave you in the dark and not explain shit. This isn't clever writing, it's lazy to me. So yeah, those are my thoughts there. Finally, I'm done. So if you like what you've seen here, please do feel free to hit the like button, share with all your friends, share this angry video with as many people as possible. And become a subscriber if you wish to do so, just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.